Hello, everyone, and welcome to the White Rabbit Podcast. My name is Matt Kraus, coming to you from Bandırma, Turkey. My co-host, Alper Rosanes, would normally be coming to you from Barcelona, Spain, but he's traveling today. He's somewhere in the south of France. So today it is just me and our guest, Nil Madi. Nil runs a work and organizational psychology consultancy in Istanbul. And so, Nil, say a quick hi to our listeners, and then I will tell them some more intro stuff.
Hi, everyone. That's a great day. That's great to be here.
And thank you for joining us, Nil. And let's see, I met Nil via a conference that she was scheduled to speak at recently. I say scheduled because she didn't actually make it to that particular conference. She had other business she needed to attend to instead and never made it to that one. But then she and we had a follow-up conversation later. And during that conversation, my initial thought was that maybe we could bring her onto the podcast to hear her describe the process she uses to prepare for her conference appearances. But then during the conversation, we hit on another topic, and we both thought that that topic was much more interesting. And I said to myself, we really need to have her on the podcast. And so here we are. So, Nil, help me finish up this intro. Is there anything that you would like our listeners to know about you that I have not mentioned yet?
Okay. Thanks for the intro. It was so nice. Okay, so I'm Dr. Nil Madi. I'm a work and organizational psychologist. What I do is I help organizations and employees and leaders to become their best versions of themselves actually at work. So what I do is I give trainings and consultancy services to organizations. And I help people understand workplace psychology in order to achieve more, in order to perform better, in order to uh, be more self-motivated, let's say, and happier. So that's my mission, actually.
Excellent. And so, Nil, before I forget, tell our listeners if they want to get in touch with you after the podcast, where can they find you?
Okay, so I'm having an update on my website. So social media would be a better place to get connected.
Okay.
LinkedIn or Instagram would be a perfect place to get connected. If you want to ask anything, just feel free to message me via LinkedIn.
Excellent. And thank you, Neil. Okay, so let's get down to the main topic for today. And the main topic for today is the challenges of and the psychology of the workplace. And dear listeners, fear not, you are in the right place. This is the White Rabbit Podcast. And yes, we are a presentations and communications related podcast. So basically, what I'm doing here today is I am collecting raw material or subject matter from Neil. And then in a future episode, Alper and I will unpack what Neil describes here today through the lens of our podcast's normal subject, presentations and communications. So, Neil, that subject that I mentioned, the challenges of and the psychology of the workplace, that's a pretty broad area. So,
It is.
let's start narrowing it down a bit. You tell me, where should we start?
Okay, Matt. So yeah, it is a really broad topic, actually. Um, let me start with saying that workplace doesn't operate in an isolated format. So it doesn't operate in a vacuum. So it is shaped by what's going on in the world. So it's a direct reflection of what's happening around us socially, technologically, economically. So all the things that we face, all the things that we read through media, we see on the news, reflect on work life. So what do we talk about the world nowadays, let's say? So that's the question. We talk about crisis,
Mm,
right? We
mm,
talk about wars, we talk about economical crisis, we talk about rapid change and constant change. We talk about AI all the time, right?
True.
Yeah, we talk about uncertainty, how uncertain the world is. Um, we talk about crime, a climate crisis as well, extreme weather conditions, etc. So all of these reflect directly at workplace. So what are the reflections? Layoffs due
Mhm.
to AI, right?
Yeah.
Stress, a lot of stress, burnout, threats to well-being of employees, communication problems, patience. We have become more impatient to customers, to each other, to managers, to leaders, to our coworkers. And we can also talk about psychological safety. So we don't feel safe at work. It's not just because of the world problems, but the reflections of the world problems, actually. And another challenge is that we become much, much, much more lonely. So these are the challenges that I can talk about today. Of course, there are lots of challenges, but I can narrow them down to these. Would that
There's
be okay?
Yeah, but, before we go on, I have a question for you. And you talked about the challenges and that there's a lot of external information coming in, uh, AI and, am I gonna get laid off? Am I gonna lose my job? And, wars and climate change and all these external stressors. And one thing that Alper and I talk a lot about on this podcast is the mindset of the audience when they walk through the door. And as you describe this situation, I'm thinking, what's that going to mean for the people when they walk through the door and into the conference room and they take their seats to listen to my presentation? They're going to be stressed out and it's going to have absolutely nothing to do with me. So they don't even know my name. I haven't even opened my mouth and they're already stressed out. So
Yeah.
how do you in the workplace, how do you deal with this bunch of stressed out people? Is there anything you can do to calm them down? They walk in the door through the glass doors into your building at the beginning of the day, and they're thinking about wars and terrorism and AI and layoffs and stuff like that. And there's all this stress. What do you do for that?
Yeah. I actually give training on that in order to teach people how to manage stress and how to live with stress in a more peaceful format, let's say. Um, just to put it in a nutshell, there's actually a advantages phase of stress and disadvantages phase of stress. So
Wow.
it's a
Okay.
bell-shaped curve, actually. The relationship between performance and stress is really interesting. The graph is bell-shaped,
Oh,
so it's like this. It's like a
okay.
bell curve.
Sure.
In order to, at some point, we call it use stress. So it is useful, actually.
Okay. Ah,
It's
interesting.
the stress can be your friend, actually,
Oh,
at some sort of level. It can make you take action.
oh,
It can motivate you. It can push you to move forward. It can um, help you perform better at an optimal point. But after an optimal point, it becomes disadvantageous. So it
okay.
becomes dangerous, actually. So we call that phase distress. So it comes with anxiety. And
Oh,
at the end of the day, you can face with burnout. So um, the talent, I call it talent. Actually, it's competence, but I call it talent. The
okay.
talent is to manage the stress at the optimal
Ooh,
level of performance
uh
stage.
okay.
In order to do it, everyone has different ways to manage it. For example, some of them use lots of breathing exercises, which I found really useful. I
Uh-huh.
love breathing exercises.
Okay.
My favorite top two is box breathing. 4 times 4 box breathing. Even
Yeah.
the FBI and I'm sorry, not FBI, but CIA agents
Uh-huh.
practice it during the operations
Yeah,
abroad.
I've heard about this. A quick
Yeah,
reminder of box breathing. Give me a quick reminder. What is box breathing? I've heard the phrase, I've
box
heard it
breathing.
described, I forget.
Yeah. So you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold your breath for 4 seconds, and then you exhale through your mouth for 4
Okay.
seconds, really
Okay.
mindfully. You rest for 4 seconds and you inhale again. So it's like a box.
Ah,
It's
okay.
like a square. It's
Ah,
it's called
that's where
box
all the
breathing
force
or
come
square.
from.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Yeah, to make it easier, if you find it exhausting, you can inhale for 2 or 3 seconds as well, but inhale deeply
Uh-huh.
and hold it for 4, then release it for 4,
Okay.
then rest and start again.
Okay.
Another breathing exercise I really love is 4-7-8 breathing.
Uh-huh.
Um, the other name for that breathing is breathing. It's called
Okay.
the bees, the animal
Yeah.
bee.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
you inhale for 4 seconds,
Uh-huh.
you hold your breath for 7 seconds, and then you exhale it in 8 seconds, but you make some sort of voice like a bee. So you exhale like like this
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
or
Yeah, yeah.
so it makes you control your breath, and it takes you again at the moment. So
Okay.
you become more mindful and you may become more focused. And if you find difficulty in sleeping, that's a really wonderful exercise. Do it for 3 times and you can fall asleep easily
Then,
as well.
another thing that I heard you mentioned the bell curve and that, there's, a little bit of stress is good, too much is bad,
Bad.
and that's shaped like a bell curve. So tell me more about that.
Okay. So when you reach the optimal point, that's great.
Okay.
You need to learn. I mean, we all need to learn how to stay calm, how to master stress management.
Uh-huh.
So in order to be at that optimal level, you should be exploring yourself. You should be exploring your weaknesses,
Okay.
how you fail to deal with stress. So you need to be self-aware. You need to say that when I live this, I get more distressed. I get distress. I feel distress. I feel anxious, anxiety, and etc.
Sure.
And you need to be more aware in your actions.
Okay.
So we need to be able to uh, analyze your behavior in order to detect, in order to, um, how can I say it, in order to spot the situations
Okay.
that makes you feel
Mm.
stressed or
Okay.
that makes you um, get to the burnout point
Okay.
so that we can take some cautions as well.
Okay.
But stress management is not very simple. You need to learn that human beings have some sort of system.
Mhm.
We operate in a system.
Mhm.
I call this system body, mind, and soul system.
Okay.
So in order to manage your stress and stay at the optimal level of performance with stress, you need to be learning about that system and you need to be really well aware of your system. I mean, your body, your mind, and soul. So in order to calm the body, you can practice breathing exercises. You can have some mindfulness exercises. Practicing mindfulness exercises is really nice way to deal with stress. You can take caution about your nutrition. You can have exercise more, etc. But only but dealing stress with only focusing on body is not enough.
Mm.
You need to
Okay.
train your mind as well.
Okay.
So you need to be aware of your mindset. You need to be well aware of how your thoughts, your opinions are shaped. We call it metacognition. Metacognition is basically thinking about your thinking processes, because you can just sit down and you can think. Just by thinking, you can increase your stress levels. So
Yeah,
you need
true.
to be really well aware of how your thinking processes are, how you think, how you perceive, how you approach situations. It can be optimistic, it can be pessimistic, or I don't know. You need to be able to process how you need to be able, not process, I'm sorry, I misused the word. You need to be able to see how your thought processes are.
Okay.
And when you get into the negative thinking process, you need to be
Mhm.
able to stop.
Okay.
So that's another way to manage stress.
Oh,
But that
let
needs training.
okay.
That's not easy. And also, you need to be able to invest in your soul as well.
Okay. And let me interrupt you at this point. I'm thinking about how Alper and I are going to interpret this through a presentation lens. So let's say that I'm giving a presentation and 20 people are walking through the door. So they're taking their seats now, those 20 people. Uh, Is there a way that I can identify, like, who's on the good side of the bell curve, the stress bell curve, and who's on the bad side? Who's like gonna take action versus who's gonna, pick up a gun and start shooting? Or like, and are these people, are they gonna respond to me in different ways? So how is this gonna affect how they act during my presentation? Do you know?
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough question. But there are some signs actually. Body
Okay.
language gives lots of messages. You know it better
Okay.
than me. So I
Okay.
give lots of presentations and trainings. So when I
Uh,
get onto this stage or when I get into the training room, I face with people.
uh,
I face with the participants.
okay.
I'm just giving some examples from my experience. Um, so I think the most important sign is eye contact. Does the person have eye contact with you or not?
Okay. Okay.
So if he is doing something like that,
Uh, uh,
that means something.
okay.
Are they smiling?
Uh,
Uh, are their postures
hmm.
good or not?
Okay.
So that gives a message about their readiness, actually
Uh,
readiness to training or readiness to the presentation.
okay.
Um, what else? When I get into the stage, I always say hello or good morning or something else. And I actually invest in raising the energy of the participants.
How do you do
Uh,
that?
so I do some sort of ice breaking activities, or I just make people get up, stand up, so that I can make them more ready for the training or for the session,
Okay.
whatever I'm there for. Um, but I am if I am the presenter or if I am the trainer,
Oh.
I am responsible to make them ready, to make them get more ready, to raise their energy.
Okay.
That's my mindset
Mm,
actually.
interesting.
So they should be standing up, do some sort of exercise. We do some stretching exercises or even music. Music is also helpful,
Uh,
but not classical music or sad music or arabesque in Turkish, etc. So you need to put some sort of upbeat music in order to
uh,
increase the mood,
ooh,
in order to raise the energy. So
uh,
these are some tricks actually.
okay. And you mentioned not classical music, which I want to ask you about because when you mentioned not classical music, I was thinking, wow, we should play some Chopin or we should play some classical music to calm these people down. So why
You
do you say
can.
not use classical music?
You can use classical music or even Baroque music is better
Okay.
in order to increase the concentration. So neuroscience gives lots of information about the effect of music on performance.
Okay.
So if you want people to be more focused, to be more mindful, you can play classical or Baroque music. But at the beginning of the session, at the beginning of the presentation, I wouldn't recommend it. I would
Okay.
recommend upbeat music or pop music, the
Okay.
popular ones,
Uh-huh.
in order to get more ready, in order to raise more energy.
Okay.
Classical music doesn't raise that sort of energy at the beginning of the
Okay.
presentation.
I see. Okay.
You can use it as a strategy at the middle of your presentation or after the break or during the break. Not after the break, during the break. During the
Okay.
break, it's okay.
Uh-huh.
After the break, use upbeat music again.
Okay. Okay. And another question that I have for you is that Alper and I get a lot of clients who are concerned about people asking, well, I guess hateful is kind of a strong word. Let's say negative, asking
Negative.
negative or very challenging questions during the the presentation, and they're very nervous about this. This is one of the main reasons that we hear about why people don't want to do presentations. Like we hear
Mm-hmm.
people say, I don't want to do this presentation because I'm afraid of what people are going to say to me afterwards. They're going to make me look like a fool. Is there a way to anticipate or in this bell curve, these 20 people, they're on a bell curve. Some people, they're on the nice part of the bell curve, they're on the good part of the stress. And then there are other people who are, they're on the bad side and they're about to pick up a gun and start shooting. So
Yeah.
is there a difference in the kind of questions that these people are going to ask in a presentation?
Are you asking about the questions to handle the
Yeah, let's
negative
say
opinions
yeah,
or
let's say that for example, I have 20 minutes allotted,
mm-hmm,
and I have given a presentation for 15 minutes, and now we
mm-hmm.
have 5 minutes left, and I say, okay, in the last couple
Q&A?
minutes, we're going to do some Q&A. And then there's that uncomfortable moment of silence where we're waiting for the first question to come in, and then the
Yeah.
questions start coming in, and some of them are going to be softball questions like, what's your name? And some of the questions are not going to be so softball. They're going to be really challenging and difficult, angry questions.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in this bell curve of people, uh, is there any correlation between this person is on the good side of the stress curve. And so they're going to be the softball questions. And this person is on the bad side of the stress bell curve. And so they're going to ask the awful questions that make me look like
Yeah.
a fool. Is there any correlation between that?
Hmm. Well, actually, it's an assumption.
Okay.
So you cannot know the stress level of the people
Uh-huh.
in the audience. It can
Interesting.
change.
Okay.
For example, some of the words that you have mentioned can be really emotional for one
Okay.
in the
Mm,
audience, and
interesting.
your words or actions or even the color of the slides
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
can make some angry, right?
Okay. Ah,
So you
interesting.
cannot know it. You cannot know it. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
For example, sometimes during the trainings, I tell some sort of stories, or we talk about, since it's Turkey, we talk about football as well.
Sure, of
Since
course.
I'm a Fenerbahçe fan,
Uh-huh.
some of Galatasaray fans in the audience may react. So I have no idea about it because I don't know whether they are Fenerbahçe fans or Beşiktaş fans or Galatasaray fans or Trabzon. I don't know. So
Uh-huh.
that's an assumption.
Okay.
And the biggest mistake that people can make at work life, not just in presentations, not just in meetings, in
Okay.
all the work life, is making assumptions,
Ah, interesting.
in my perspective.
Uh-huh.
So when some tough questions come out, um, you can just pause. Well, I
Uh-huh.
pause for a moment.
Uh-huh.
I do some sort of breathing. If you have time, you can take a deep breath if it's a really tough question.
Uh-huh.
And then I make sure that my mind doesn't personalize that sort of questions, that
Ah,
negative questions. So I make some sort of disconnection between me and my training or my presentation and with the question. So the question is not about me.
mm,
It's about the topic. So
okay.
make
Ah,
sure you
interesting.
make that some sort of disconnection or make them some sort of, I don't know, distinction, let's say.
Yeah, yeah.
Then the best strategy is to ask open-ended questions. Like,
Okay.
what made you think that?
Uh-huh.
From which perspective are you evaluating this thing? Just ask open-ended questions to the ones who ask tough questions. Because sometimes they don't ask questions. They just give their opinions in question format.
Okay. Ah,
Majority of people actually, I read some sort of statistics about it, but I don't remember the exact number, so I'm sorry for that.
uh-huh.
But majority of people think that they ask questions, but they don't ask questions. They
Interesting.
just give some sort of statements in question format.
Ah, so basically they are, well, for want of a better word, they're puking.
Yeah,
They're garbage in the form of a
sometimes.
question, basically. Am I hearing you correctly?
Yeah, sometimes
Interesting.
they do that,
Uh-huh.
or sometimes they do that in order to get some sort of self-confirmation. They want to hear from the
Uh-huh.
presenter or hear from the trainer that they are doing something right.
Okay.
So in
Ah,
order to
interesting.
take some sort of confirmation, they uh, share some sort of statement in question format, but it's not a question. So in order to deal with it, I think the best way is to ask open-ended questions,
Ah,
starting
so
with what, how, or which, but don't start with why.
interesting. Don't start with
Yeah,
why. Ooh.
don't start with why. Because if you ask one participant about their opinion
Uh-huh.
with the question starting with why, they can
Uh-huh.
feel offended.
Okay.
Just let's make a trial here right now.
Uh-huh.
Matt, what? Why are you acting like it, like this? Why are you laughing? How this? How did this question make you feel? Why
I
are
I
you laughing, Matt?
I'm laughing because when you start when you start the question with why, I notice that I immediately feel aggressive and defensive. Immediately,
Yes, you
before you've
do.
even finished asking the question, as soon as I heard the word
Yeah,
why. Wow,
yeah.
good
That's the
point.
effect of why.
Uh-huh.
Let's try the alternative. Matt, what
Okay.
made you laugh?
There we go. I could deal with that one,
See
no
the
problem.
difference?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, so let me see if I am hearing you correctly. And so we'll have to wrap up here in a second, but I wanna make sure that I'm hearing you correctly. So, okay, if I am up there giving a presentation and now it's the Q&A session, so there are a couple things that I need to remember. One is not to take what these people ask personally. It's not personal. And so I need to have some, how would you say, it's almost kind of like I should be occupying sort of a Zen state where
Yeah.
okay, I'm not going to, whatever these people ask, it doesn't have anything to do with me. It has to do with the subject matter, but it doesn't have to do with me. And it might have to do
Yes.
with their internal state. And by the way, back up even more. So I can't think, I have to be cool with the fact that this is gonna be unpredictable, and I cannot measure these people's I've got 20 people sitting in front of me, they're watching me. I can't predict the emotional state of these 20 people, and it might
You
have
can.
turned on something completely unpredictable, completely ununderstandable, like maybe the fact that they didn't like the shade of orange that I used on the slide, or maybe they're a Galatasaray fan and I used blue, which, by the way, for our non-football fan listeners, is the color of Fenerbahce. So I used the color from another team on one of my slides, and that made them angry. And so I first of all, I can't predict the emotional state of these people, and I also cannot really predict how what I do is going to steer their emotional state. Am I hearing you correctly?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Interesting. Okay, so with that, so we need to wrap up. Uh,
Okay.
so the time has flown by. I'm just barely getting
Yeah, it
started
is.
with questions. I noticed that wow, it's already time to start wrapping up. So I wanted to thank you very much for joining us on the podcast today, Neil.
Thanks. Thank
And
you.
it was a real pleasure to have you with us. And so Alper and I will be back in a future episode when he gets back from that pristine lake in southern France.
Oh,
He and I
nice
will be
place.
back to unpack what we've heard today through a presentation lens. So, in the meantime, I just want to say goodbye to everybody and thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you later.